For weeks, Caitlin Clark faced discrimination on the court, but the WNBA remained silent. Fans were enraged. Analysts refrained from talking about the issue. Then the silence ended. The NBA's top stars, not the WNBA's. These were not polite shout-outs or statements from the press team. This was an honest, unrestrained voice. Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and others were not only praising her performance, they were shielding her from what they had personally seen. Particularly, Steph had had enough. He watched the blows, heard the silence, and when he did speak, his remarks reverberated across the basketball world. When a famous person like Curry openly challenges Caitlin's usage as a punching bag, everyone takes notice. He was by no means by himself. What were at least 6 NBA, in fact. The All-Star said on camera that Caitlin Clark is not a flash in the pan. It is intolerable that a player of her caliber is being unjustly singled out. You may be surprised by some of the uncensored word-for-word responses that some of the biggest players in the NBA have expressed here. NBA players usually exclusively express love to one another. As a result, the majority of people expected Pascal Siakam when asked about Caitlin Clark, the league's smoothest two-way player and all-star champion, said maybe something safe and superficial. But Pascal did not exercise caution. When asked which player is most loved, said abruptly he brought up Caitlin Clark, not only in passing, not as a nice nod, but as someone who, according to him, was equivalent to players in the NBA itself.
Oh man, Caitlin she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlin Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just love.
Think about it. He was not comparing her to WNBA players. He was comparing her to Tyrese Halliburton, one of the NBA's most fascinating point guards. Pascal insisted that Caitlin was getting the most love. That goes beyond just adoration. That is an acknowledgement. For those who continue to maintain that the WNBA operates in a vacuum, that serves as a reality check. When someone's name is mentioned in discussions intended for the NBA elite, you may tell that their influence is significant. Siakam could have selected anybody, but he went with Caitlin Clark. It is not a headline. That is a shift. Pascal and the other men are encouraging, and it shows that Caitlin has broken over the invisible barrier dividing leagues. He did not have to say it, but he did, and it tells you everything. Some of Obi-Wan's remarks are ambiguous. Even though he is not renowned for long speeches or dramatic soundbites, his comment on Caitlin Clark jumps out. It lacked polish, but it was honest. And in today's media environment, it has a greater effect than any pre-written PR slogan. Obi plays with energy, flair, and bravado, but his tone changes when he talks about Caitlin Clark. When someone goes above and beyond the box score, you should offer them gratitude rather than simply respect.
Yeah, Caitlin's amazing. Super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like it's so much. It's a joy to watch.
It is the parody, not the words, that stands out. Caitlin from the WNBA and OBC as equals, not as an afterthought or as subpar. Like NBA players, they celebrate their wins. This reciprocal energy is rare and significant. It is nice to see Caitlin Clark courtside and to know that the NBA players actually care. Saying anything like, "Oh, hey, a celebrity came up," is not enough. It is a sincere appreciation and basketball bond. What Obi stated does not have to become viral. It indicates something more important even though it does not make the news. As a women's basketball player, Caitlin's standing has evolved. She is a hooper. Ignore it. When NBA players start talking about you like you are one of them, you have already joined their world. Giving someone on your squad a cliche is a simple way to cheer them up. She is amazing. Her level of competence is impressive. That kind of stuff. But Tyrese Halliburton made a different decision. He did more than just promote Caitlin Clark since they both reside in the same city. He did not compliment her since it was the right PR move. His proximity to her, his acquaintance with her, and his observation of the daily tempest she has been facing without flinching served as the inspiration for his thoughts.
She's, I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with a lot There's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over. And I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like, she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes
the 5 most famous periods. LeBron, Steph, Joik, and NBA All-Star Tyrese are discussing Caitlin Clark. Not out of hype, but out of reality. He watches the numbers, the noise of the media, and the passion of the supporters. He knows what it is like to be a franchise representative. Furthermore, he knows that Caitlin is dealing with something much more difficult as a sophomore. Furthermore, his comments lack empathy. He is defending her not only as a player, but also as a person. Tyrese is bringing attention to the mistreatment, coercion, and absurdity she did not want. Caitlin Clark is well prepared. When LeBron James talks instead of just listening, the sports world recalibrates. We look at every word. We look at each delay. When the person who has played basketball for the last 20 years decides to remark, that is what happens. As a result, his criticism of Caitlin Clark was not only playful, it was an enthusiastic suggestion with a deeper meaning. One that pierced through the noise and backlash to get straight to the core of this sporting occasion.
Because everybody is looking for you to say anything, and they're going to splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane. For the first time in their league history, they flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right.
LeBron is advocating for both Caitlin Clark and growth in general. He has seen what she has endured. It is a shift in culture rather than just media pressure. He knows what it is like to be the driving force behind a league's choice to go private. That transcends the past. It is a legacy move. He has been there. The bullseye on your back, the expectations, and everything else. This might be the reason he sees part of himself in Caitlin. She not only won LeBron's respect, but also his admiration. And that is a completely different kind of praise. It takes a certain amount of confidence to suggest a 3-point game against one of the most anticipated shooters in the world. You feel even more confident when you are the one to ask for it. Trae Young enters. Trae, who is renowned for his bold attitude and profound eruptions, has never been timid. But when he talks about Caitlin Clark, his tone shifts a little. Still confident, still playful, but with a distinct note of gratitude. This is more than simply one elite shooter complimenting another. It's a real-time peer recognition of excellence.
You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan. Oh, yeah. She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae 3-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure.
First off, there have only been 2 players in NCAA history to lead the nation in both assists and points in a single season. The actuality is not enjoyable. In basketball, it is aristocracy. Furthermore, Trae's comments about her are not condescending. It is genuine. It is a sincere tribute to a gifted artist from a different period. He is not behaving like he would win that gunfight. He admits that he would need to do more repetitions. The highest level of difference is that Caitlin participates in more than simply the discussion. She is the topic of discussion. Young is prepared to share the limelight or perhaps engage in a head-to-head match. Paul George is not a fluff artist. He doesn't speak to gain influence. It's to help you see things more clearly. He also shared one of the most perceptive thoughts about Caitlin Clark that we have heard from any NBA player. He did not immediately begin to commend. He did not beat. He zoomed out to give context. In contrast to the highlight video, viral fouls, or all-time shooting statistics that have dominated most conversations about Caitlin.
You gotta put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended.
It is not an insult to Caitlin that acts as a sobering reminder of a cultural shift. Paul George does not even contest her excellence. In fact, by calling her an immediate transformation, he is confirming that. But he is also acknowledging something we do not talk about enough: the psychological harm it inflicts on the women who founded the nonprofit. The veterans who played in deserted gyms, advocated for charter flights, and never faced cameras. They put forth just as much effort, but they did not reap the same rewards as Caitlin. It stings when someone enters and becomes the league's face right away, even if she earned it. Paul George humanized the hostility, but did not defend it. And in doing so, he showed us how profound this moment was. Caitlin is more than the main attraction. She is the center of a shift that has an impact on everyone. Luka Doncic shares his ideas and aspirations. If you have seen him play or talk, you can tell he is straightforward. Specifically, no further polish and no filter. His answer to a simple question on women's basketball thus held greater weight. Neither hesitancy nor phony diplomacy were present.
Who's your favorite women's basketball player?
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Buchers?
She's okay. I didn't see her playing in the women's NBA.
That pivot is not a shadow. It is a typical setting. It was clear that Luka did not downplay Paige's abilities. Caitlin Clark is now doing it on a professional level. That is what matters. She is more than simply college buzz or a highlight reel for March Madness. Despite getting hit and losing dimes in the trenches, she still comes up every night. That answer has some respect, but it is not very strong. Luka understands what it takes to succeed as a professional. He described it as basketball talk. Real knows what real is. When a generational NBA player like Luka nods at Caitlin, it is more of a confirmation than a compliment. She did well on the test. She is present. Luka already sees her as that player. From a distance, he had seen the blows continue. He saw the league's continued silence. Steph Curry, one of basketball's most well-known speakers, decided it was time to speak. Music. His comments were not only in favor of Caitlin Clark. They sent a message to everyone in attendance.
I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
It was more than help. That was a warning shot. Music. When Steph yells like that, everyone in the league and spectators need to pay attention. But Steph was far from done. After denouncing Caitlin's treatment, he went one step further. He analyzed her game with a degree of precision that only he could provide, emphasizing her range, timing, and reckless manner that made him consider himself. As he said it, you could hear the reverence in his voice.